always tell any young mama that's sending off their last kid, I'm like, listen, here's the thing. Let yourself grieve a little bit because you worked really hard for the last 18 years to prepare them. And now it's time for them to fly.
I feel like the weight of the world is on my shoulders because, I'm dealing with all these different schedules. Everyone can probably relate to this, that you raise your kids the exact same. They're in the same household with the same parents, with the same rules. And our girls are night and day.
You are different each year when the kids are born, and you're going through something different, and the world is different.
Welcome to the I Decide Darlings podcast. I'm Erin.
And I'm Lisa. We are moms, wives, best friends, entrepreneurs, and authors of the book, I Decide, the happy little guide to living your best life. Pull up a chair, grab a glass of wine, and get ready to talk all things health, success, loss, money, family, and everything in between. These two besties won't leave anything off the table.
So get ready to laugh, cry, hear the tips, tools, and stories to give you the success you crave, the life you adore, and the future you deserve. You are listening to the I Decide podcast.
Hello. Welcome back. I say that, but we've been coming in here often lately. But, welcome back to the I Decide Darlings podcast. Happy back to school. I am Erin Lopez.
And I'm Lisa Cox. Welcome. How are you doing, Mama? You got your kids back in school. I'm so proud of you. I think today we talk about the harsh realities of back to school. I mean, so much positive. So much incredible things that we can talk about, but there's a lot that goes into it for you mamas that have kids in all different grades, and even the moms that have college age, getting them out the door, saying goodbye, getting everything prepared for them to be on their own. I mean, it's a lot, isn't it, Erin?
It's a lot. Yeah. I actually posted yesterday that my heart flutters for all of the moms sending their kids off to college for the first time. So yeah, I know it's a lot of emotions. There's that emotion of glee, which is we're back in school, structure. And there's also that kind of I don't know, here we are, another year that just fleets by, that our kids are getting closer to flying the nest.
So tell us what grade your girls are in.
So Ella, it was a junior, scary Mary. So we have started thinking about colleges and such. So I think that's why it hit me a little bit harder this year, just watching people send their kiddos off to college, because I will let you know now, I will be a hot mess. And then Violet is a freshman. So they're both in high school together. Very strange and exciting all at the same time. They drove off together on their first day of school, and it was bittersweet. I was kind of bye, but then I was oh, there go my babies together in the car.
Yeah, I texted you on the first day of school, and I'm like, I bet you're floating in the pool with a margarita, and you're like, right, Lisa.
I think I said, I wish. I'm
I wish.
Back to work, clean up the house. Yeah.
That's what we all think is going to happen when all the kids go back in school. We have all that time, but in the reality of it, you're still so busy and so swamped. And I know for me, I was watching my big sister send off her youngest daughter to college. So that's the last in my family. Everyone else is off or grown up. And so we have our youngest niece is starting college. And like you said, the emotions around it, it was tough. It's tough for them. They're the transition, and everybody, I always tell any young mama that's sending off their last kid, I'm like, listen, here's the thing. Let yourself grieve a little bit because you worked really hard for the last 18 years to prepare them. And now it's time for them to fly. And it's a hard thing to do, But if they're happy, you're going to be happy once you get used to the new schedule, and then go get busy and do things. Like I think that's the best thing about, for my sister anyway. She's very, very, very busy financial planner, but also her and her husband have a lot of hobbies and things like that. And so they can go do those things now together and nourish their relationship and go make some new memories and some fun, without kids at home. And
that's the hard part too, like hobbies. Like Tony and I will say that all the time. Like our hobbies are our children right now, which I'm not saying is like healthy, but it's the reality when we're, going in so many different places at one time. So as much as it kills me to think about them going to school, like I love watching you and Steve too, with your hobbies and you're nourishing your relationship. So different seasons of life.
Different seasons, but I want to hear about back to school. Let's talk about the mamas that have kids in up to high school, and that's right where you are. And so, Erin, talk to me first of all. This is what blows my mind. I know that you have a lot of tips that you could give our listeners, because your schedule is insane, and it hasn't really changed now that school started. I mean, it has changed, and I want you to tell us how. But you are like the queen of the schedule, and I think it's incredible to watch how you handle it. So share your scheduling tips.
Oh my gosh. Well, I always say faith it till you make it. But but I do think that there's something to be said about structure and about schedule. So, I mean, we've realized that communication is the biggest help to what we can do for our family. So, we have calendars. I mean, it's really, I feel like the weight of the world is on my shoulders because, I'm dealing with all these different schedules, but, I mean, it's reality. So I don't know that I will say this. I don't know that I have tips per se, other than communication. I mean, every Sunday night we sit down for dinner and we talk about our week in detail. So there's no surprises. There's no like, nobody told me I had a lesson on a Thursday, so we talk about like the good, the bad, and the fun in between. So we talk about, school, we talk about student council, we talk about practices, games, lessons, church, like everything. So we're all kind of on the same page. So I do think that has become a really good like habit for us, is sitting down and really talking about it. So like I said, there are no surprises, because like last night, we didn't get home because they're both in high school together. They're both playing volleyball. We don't get home till 8:30. We still had to eat dinner, still have to do homework. So there's no time to like talk about tomorrow. Like, you're kind of just like trying to get by. But, I will say a couple years ago, we had like a real harsh come to Jesus. And when I say that, I mean Tony and I, that our years are fleeting by. And so we really kind of took a step back socially, because we really wanted to be present, for our kids. So I think that was really just a mindset shift for us, which was, our friends are always going to be there. We want to have great quality friendships, but this is like when our kids need us the most. So, I mean, we really, and this, you and I've talked about this in detail, but like, we really made the conscious choice to go, not that you don't go all in as parents, but, like every moment we get, we wanted to, be with our kids, celebrate our kids, do the little things with our kids, because they're going to be gone soon. So scheduling. I mean,
I think that's perfect. You know what, Erin, that's something we teach and coach in our business as well. I mean, we always teach and coach to plan your week before your week, your month before your month, and your year before your year.
Yeah.
And so I think that gives everyone a kind of a clear path for the week. I think that's an awesome tip. I love that.
But I think, like you said, for our business, like we were talking about you going to yoga earlier, like everything is planned, and maybe it doesn't sound sexy, but guess what? Like everything is planned. I mean, my workouts are planned. Time with friends is planned. Everything is planned because we live in such a busy, crazy world. So yeah, I mean, I think I think people need to, if you're not, and guess what? There are so many apps out there now that help you get planned that, it's fun.
Yeah, or you could be like Lisa Cox and just put it all on an old-fashioned paper calendar. I find that that is the easiest for me to have my whole week in
Whatever
advance.
works,
But
right?
I want to hear, Erin, please tell me you also plan time with your husband.
Yes. And I will say now that they are older and they are busy and they are social, we actually find more time for us now than we did when they were like elementary, middle school age,
Mhm.
which I don't think anyone tells you either, because, for example, they both went somewhere like on a Friday night. Well, we're to the point now where we're both like, okay, well, looks like it's you and I tonight. Well, looks like it's you and I tonight. Well, looks like the kids have plans tonight. So, there is that busyness that comes with them. But also, like I said, we find all of a sudden like they've kind of started to step outside the nest a little bit more.
Which is going to help you get ready for the transition when they're in college, because
Yeah.
instead of being smacked in the face with all that time to yourself,
Mhm.
you're going to get to slowly kind of work into that. And I also remember that too when our girls were home, where all of a sudden they both could drive, and there something was always going on, and we were just like, oh, we can have another date night. It's
Yeah.
kind of nice. But
Yeah.
if you're listening and you have younger kids, I really, really recommend scheduling in a date night. If you can get one a week, take it. If you can get
Yeah.
one every 2 weeks, take it. But
Mhm.
Steve and I found, it was so important to nurture our relationship, because if we were on the same page, then we were better parents.
Mhm.
If we could be connected with each other and have that time to get away, laugh a little together, just be ourselves as a couple again, then when we came back around and we're mom and dad, mom and dad, mom and dad, I need this, I need that, I need that, we're more prepared
Mhm.
because we have that connection with each other. So I really think that was a helpful thing. And we had Steve's mom, which I understand not everybody has help.
Mhm.
But we had Steve's mom was still living at the time, and she was my girls when they were little and in elementary school, and when they were real little, she was their Saturday night date. And
Mm.
every Saturday night that we wanted it, she would keep the girls, and so we could go to dinner or go to a movie or do something.
Mhm.
So I think that should be part of your scheduling for your week, and even during the school year, because school years can get pretty crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me this though, for everybody, because, again, we're in different seasons. What does your relationship look like now versus what it looked like then? And like, is there a big like shift?
Yeah, there is a big shift. I feel like I think, well, we've been really, really, really lucky in our relationship over all the years, but I feel like when you're going as fast as you're going, so we also have two daughters like Erin. Ours were 4 years apart though, so we were really with like Megan was all through high school by the time Amanda got into high school, so it's a little bit of a different situation. But still, one was playing tennis or someone was doing volleyball. And so if we had to kind of divide and conquer a lot, it would be like two ships in the night, hi, honey, and we both always worked full-time jobs. I worked from
Mhm.
home, but I was always very busy building a big business. And he had his career. And so he was gone from the house a lot. And so we just maybe weren't as tight as we are now.
Mhm.
Now I feel like we've gotten to this point where we're very fortunate and very connected. He still has lots of his things that he does on his own, which I think is also very healthy.
Mhm.
He plays golf. I do not play golf, and I want him to go play golf. And I don't want him hanging over my shoulder all day long.
You're
And
like, go, go, go.
yeah. And I do my yoga and I do my walking and different things that I do. And then we do the rest or a lot of it together. So
Mhm.
some people that know us think that we're probably attached at the hip because they always see us together, and we are together a lot, but we like that. Now
Mhm.
you may not want to be together with your spouse all the time.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the listeners. I mean, they might be going, I don't like that plan, but
Yeah.
we
True.
are. I do feel like we're very, very tight and close.
Whatever
at
works
this
for
point.
everybody, right?
Yeah. What makes
Whatever
you
works for
happy?
you. Okay, so do you notice when people are going back to school, like now, because here we are talking about like it's summer, we're on the countdown, so many days till school. Now so do you even like notice, except for me talking your ear off all the time? Like,
Well, it's so funny because all of a sudden I'll see like the yellow buses rolling. I'm like, whoa, it's school time. I mean, because I don't have to spend the money on back to school clothing. Now, I did hear the ads, of course. Everyone can't miss those. And they started like in June, I swear. So I hear that, but I really didn't know what day they went back until my yoga class was packed all of a sudden this Monday, just 2 days ago, or what day is it? Yeah, 2 days ago. And I was
point noted.
Yeah,
what day is it?
Right there. See, that's the thing. I have to ask myself what day it is. And no mama that has kids in school has to ask themselves what day it is. But yes, Monday morning, I go to my 9 o'clock. I go to 9 o'clock yoga every single morning, Monday through Friday, if I can. And I walk in and it's full. And I was like, oh my gosh, the mamas are back. And I love it when it's full. I love the energy. I miss all the mamas when they're away at summertime. And so that's how I know is that my class is full. But
that's so funny.
But it gives me such a warm, happy vibe. Like, I mean, just back to school. I remember my girls, and I want you to tell me this. So my girls were always ready, Erin. Do they feel ready to get back in? Like some parents are like, oh no, heck no, they don't want to go back. But my girls, I think, got at the end of summer kind of bored. Were your girls ready to go back?
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's some aspect of, again, I think whether or not they realize it or not, like they are craving that structure too. And I think you kind of get to the point too of like wanting to see those friends that you don't see all summer long, or my kids are a little bit different just because, well, I think all kids now, like we're so busy, and so summer does go by so fast. Yeah. So all of the sudden it's time for school. But no, I think that there is a part of them that, it's fun to buy the notebooks and the backpacks and the clothes and, I get to see so-and-so that you haven't seen all summer because you're friends, but you're friends in school. So I think that there's that natural excitement to go back to school. And again, I think it wears off after we're still early. So we're still having fun, week 1 or week 2, but yeah, I think so. Who doesn't like to go, back to school shopping has changed for us at least because they all just wear athleisure.
And really?
Oh yeah. They are wearing, and in high school, which is kind of ironic, I feel like it should be swapped, but in middle school, you cannot wear shorts. You can't wear, so you're wearing leggings, jeans every day, which I think is great. In high school, there's really no rules. So you can wear those short Lululemons and a t-shirt. You can't wear spaghetti straps. That's about the only rule. So guess what they all wear? Short shorts, Lululemon. I mean, it's athleisure every day, which I think it should be reversed. Because once you get to high school, it's a little bit more revealing for those girls that are all developed versus in middle school. But anyway, so I mean, they get their like back to school shoes and their jeans, but I mean, every day they go to school, I'm like, okay,
So is there still like, I mean, I'm sure there is. It's probably always going to be there. There was always that Nellie, like from Little House on the Prairie. You're probably too young to know what that is, but there's always the mean girl. Is the competition, is it still like they have to have certain brands? And I hate to ask that, but I'm just really curious. I know I used to always sort of wish our kids went to private school. I went to private school, and so we had uniforms. And so you really never knew which kids had money and which kids didn't have money, which I felt was a really nice equalizer. And
I wish,
and that's something that our kids went to public schools. And so, and I always would see, certain children I could tell probably didn't have the money to buy the clothes that they particularly wanted or clothes that fit them properly at that time. And it always really broke my heart. And so is there still a lot of that that goes on?
And I think it actually was like this. I think they're just different brands now. But I mean, I remember in school, and I'm sure you do too, that, there were brands that everybody wore, and I think it's the same now. I think the difference now is those brands, I don't know, maybe it is this, I don't know. It's a good question. But the brands now, they're expensive. I mean, it is the Lululemon. It's the, they all carry like the Louis Vuitton, not to school, but like the Louis Vuitton crossbodies, and the Tory Burch sandals. So I will say, well, no, my kids are into it. I was going to say they're not, but they are.
Well,
we just had a birthday. They're into it.
Well, and you're a fashion mama, you know what I mean? And, but I just always, I always think about those kids that just can't, and when school first starts, I know there's probably some trepidation with them going back to school and not being able to wear the stuff that they wish that they could wear. But
Yeah.
I like the athleisure thing. I like that they're dressing comfortable for school. I feel like you could concentrate a lot better if
Yeah.
you're actually comfortable than
Yeah.
trying to wear like fancy clothes or whatever to look
It's
cool.
funny. They have a rule at school. I say they don't have rules. Of course they have rules, but they have a rule that says you can't wear your pajamas to school because
Okay.
that's how far I think we've gone, which is the athleisure. And like, you see these kids like roll out of bed and just go to school, which, not all of them do, but yeah, I know. But no, I mean, those are the harsh realities of going back to school, which is, and by the way, high school starts at the crack of dawn.
What time?
The bell rings at 7:10. Which means you have to be there by 6:50, which means, you have to leave by 6:30, 6:40. And Violet practices before school at
Holy cow.
6:10. So, I mean, our alarm goes off. There's a 4 in our alarm. And so in front of our alarm. So, those are the things that like, you look forward to school and then the alarm goes off and you're like, oh my gosh. So we know what day it is in our household because we're looking for the weekend.
Yeah, I hear you.
That the 4 o'clock alarm doesn't go off, and another blunder talking about back to school realities is like, I have to start thinking about dinners again.
Oh, yeah.
Start like going to the grocery. I mean, I go to the grocery store, obviously. I am one of those that hates going to the grocery store, but I fed my kids all summer long. But now with the schedule, I mean, I've got to like get on top of like meals.
And dinner at 8:30. That seems
dinner at 8:30.
so late.
Yeah. I mean, we did not get home until probably about 8:15 last night. And the girls are on the bus behind us. Then they have to go to school. Then they have to come back. So, I mean, by the time we eat dinner, and I will say, I am a big fan of Trader Joe's,
Yeah.
and I am a big fan, follow me for recipes, of putting it taking it out, putting it in one of my nice dishes, warming it up, heating it up. Because again, you've got like 10 minutes before they all get home, putting a nice salad with it. And then I'm like,
do you have your go-to, like, okay, do you plan, this will be a little sick and a little too orderly if you do, but do you plan all your meals out like on Sunday as well?
Okay, so I used to, and I kind of wish I could get back to that, but yes and no. So here is a great tip actually for even some moms that don't have as crazy as a schedule yet. On Sunday night, when we sat down and we talked about what we were doing, this does make me sound a little crazy. On Sunday night, when we were talking about our schedule for the week, on Tuesday's taco night, right? Like, doesn't the world know that? It's taco night. Okay. Yeah. So that's taco night. So Tuesday night's taco night. Thursday night where we are, it's pizza night. So we have like an amazing pizza place right outside the back and it's dollar slices. So I can feed my whole family with delicious pizza for like $8.
That's amazing.
It's silly for me not to do that. So we would sit down on Sunday night and I would have each child pick out what they want for dinner. So they got to pick like something that I've made in the past or something that they love or whatever. And then they would get to pick for the week. So then I didn't have to think about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then like if like, Violet went through a phase of loving meatloaf. So let's just say like she says, I want meatloaf. Ella said she wants, I don't know, hamburgers. I don't know. And so then I knew, okay, and then they always knew that we would do something around tacos. So then all of a sudden now I've got my hamburgers, my meatloaf, my tacos, and my pizza. I'm done. Because then like come Friday, it's who knows what we're going to do. So yeah. I did that for years. And it also just, I felt like gave the girls some accountability because I never wanted to hear from them like, I didn't want this for dinner. Like they picked it.
here on the I Decide Darlings podcast. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. So
that's
maybe
an awesome idea.
Maybe I need to get back to that actually.
I think so.
But it also it also selfishly kind of told me what they liked and what they didn't like.
Yeah.
You know, or like I'd make, Ella right now, like she's in a caprese phase of her life. So anything caprese pasta, caprese sandwiches, and so she would say anything caprese, and then I would try and like come up with something. So
I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now I've gotten a little bit lazier because of our schedule where I go to Trader Joe's. Maybe we should get a Trader Joe's sponsored post. I don't know. I go to Trader Joe's and I buy their pre-made meals because they're healthy, no preservatives, and then put a salad with it, put some fruit, whatever, and just make, I'll put some broccoli or we love veg. I mean, my kids are very healthy eaters. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Follow me for more recipes. You too can buy something and put it in a nice dish and no one will ever know.
So we're all about the air fryer these days. Do you have an air fryer?
We air fry everything.
Okay. See, we're kind of new to it. So we just put a couple things in there. So I need to learn more about
like
that.
What do you put in the air fryer? I just had this conversation with my mom. My mom was like, I never use it. I'm like, you never use your air fryer? Like, what is wrong with you?
Well, we just tried fish for the first time. That fish that we put a little bit of an egg batter on it and some Parmesan and some Planko.
Yeah.
And that was great. And then I'll put sweet potato chunks in there and do those. But I don't know what else to put in there.
Okay, well, let me rock your world. So we put our bread in there to toast it.
Oh.
Yeah. And it just gives it that like yummy outside. I put our waffles in there for breakfast. I mean, ours is like the big one that's out on the counter. So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But, we also will put like little pizzas in there for them. I put that in there. Apples. I'll cut up apples and put a little bit of sugar and cinnamon on them and throw them in there. And then they become like a little, dessert kind of a thing. We use it more. I mean, we do our fish. We do burgers sometimes if I'm running late because we don't have time to start the grill. Yeah.
I think every mama, especially with kids in school, needs an air fryer to save time.
I kind of agree.
You guys sit down at the table. We've had this talk before. You guys try and sit down
every night
with the kids and do something like highs and lows and hear about their day. We used to do that too. We used to force it out of our kids. And when we had tennis matches, it would go really late. It made it harder. Like you guys had volleyball till like 8:30, but I still think that's an incredible tradition.
Yeah, no, we do. And when we redid our kitchen, we made a huge island. And so we sit down there now, but I mean, it's still like we set the table every night. We do everything, but yeah. And we still do highs and lows. I mean, speaking of school, Ella's high. No, wait, what was Ella's? Ella's high was something about going to school and her low was about going to school.
It's the same thing. I get it.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
I think her high though was like, I think her high was coming home from like, she got to come home school a little early or something like that. And her low was having to go to school. So we were like, okay, that's gonna be a great year. Like highs and lows. But yeah. No, we sit down. I think at the end of the day, I mean, we call ourselves the Fab Four. We don't have family around. So we've only known our little small knit. We never had the luxury, which I love it when people do, because I think it is amazing when people have their family that live close by. We never have. So it's all we've ever known. And so we've always the Fab Four has been very tight. We do everything together. We sit down, we're kind of that, like you said, people are probably like, enough already. Like if one of them had a game, we're all going,
I love that.
If one of them, whatever, we're always, Sweet Violet. Like if she wants to sleep in on a Saturday morning, we're like, your sister has a game, let's go, so no, we definitely have made sure that we've always kind of done that. So the Fab Four sits down for dinner every night, whether or not they like it or not.
That's awesome. I love that. And now before school starts and everything, do you prepare your kids like mentally for all the different peer type struggles that come up, or how do you get kids ready for that? I mean, I know
Mm.
that is a major topic. I know it was back when my kids were in school. There's different groups and cliques and mean girls and nice girls. And how do you prepare them for that? Or do you just talk through situations as they arise?
We talk through situations as they arise, never say never. I mean, we always thought we'll never have all of that.
Yeah.
We always felt like we were just, oblivious, or we lived in this bubble that'll never happen. Well, it happens. And, it's not fun, but I think that because we're so over communicative with our children, that we deal with each time. I will say, recently, especially now that they're both, older, high school, there's boys, there's friends, there's drama. We have started limiting their social media. So they have only a certain amount of hours on social media now, which I'm probably late to that party, but because we want them to figure out time management, but also 99% of the drama comes from their social media. And it's sad, but it is their reality. So I get that now. But no, I mean, I think we've always had the over communication, the embarrassing conversations, you can ask me or tell me anything and we'll figure it out, Yeah. And no, we've been in the thick of friend stuff for a while now, but I also think it's just part of the sad. I don't think things are ever going to change. I mean, my mom will say to me, "This reminds me of when you were So I think it's just a rite of passage of teenage, especially girls. I mean, our boy, like Tyler, we never had trauma. Like he was a boy. I don't know. Like nothing ever really happened. It was sports. But no, with the girls, it's So, but no, I mean, we talk about it. We talk about everything and anything, and you should hear our conversations at dinner sometimes.
Well, I think that right there is the best piece of advice you've given. I mean, that anyone could ever get all day long in every part of their life is the communication side of it. And that's what keeps you guys so close. And I love watching your family, and it's so fun to watch all these kids get back into school. And I hope that, I don't know, is your school one of the schools where they can have cell phones at their desk or in their hand in class? Or what are the rules at your school? They can?
They say no, but they do, and right now it's a little bit stricter. Like I don't hear from them as much. Like I've heard from Violet twice since we've been doing this. It just depends on the teacher. But, they are so like in between classes, going here, going there. So yeah, I mean, they pull out their phones. I mean, you'll remember last year, I still hear from Ella, and I hope I still do, Ella. But, she'll text me in between every class,
Oh yeah.
headed to math, and I'm like, okay.
And you love it.
And I love it. So no, they do have their cell phones, which again, that's that whole time management thing, which one day they won't have us over them, with that time management, but I'm hoping that it'll kind of parlay into other things of their life, of learning how to put limits on things. So, but, and like, probably best, our kids are so different, so different. I mean, everyone can probably relate to this, that you raise your kids the exact same. They're in the same household with the same parents, with the same rules. And our girls are night and day. So I know you and I've talked about this, but
yeah, I listened to a doctor who talked about that. Actually, they were raised by two different parents. And even though you say the same house, same parents, you are different each year when the kids are born, and you're going through something different, and the world is different so when Ella was born, everything was different actually in your world than it was when Violet was born. And same with Amanda and Megan. So even though we're the same people, we're affected differently by all the things going on in the world, to where you're actually kind of different, and you're raising them according to those rules in that atmosphere and that time in your life. And so I thought that was so fascinating, and actually it makes a lot of sense.
It does make sense.
I always say our girls are so different and yet they're so much the same.
Yeah.
They have very similar hearts, really huge hearts,
Mhm.
but they were different. Like, for example, like for me, one of the realities with back to school, and Megan, if you hear this podcast, you're going to call me and be mad at me. But, she was frustrated with, like, when she'd get ready in the morning, she just never thought, her outfit was perfect or something. And so she would be frustrated walking out the door in the morning. And yet then she would most days go and have a great day and she would kind of get over it. And for us, she was perfectly beautiful every single day when she walked out the door, but she was just very hard on herself and, and was concerned about the way she looked or her clothes or whatever. And then she'd scoot out the door and be fine. But Amanda would come down and she would not care what she had on very much. She was very athleisure and comfortable and would walk out the door with a huge smile on her face every day. And we're like, what, how did we cause this? So different, but yet they are so much alike in so many other ways as far as their heart.
But don't you think it's just kind of I think it's just who they are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because Ella's the one who, like, if her out, you and I've joked about this, like, if you look at them wrong in the morning, I mean, it's like, nobody make eye contact, nobody look, or, if her outfit is not up to what she wanted, or like this morning, she woke up a few minutes late and she's like, I wanted to curl my hair and I wanted to do this. And, and we've learned, though, with the different personalities, like with Ella, it's going to be okay. All right.
Yeah.
Where Violet just kind of pops down and off to school she goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I also think that has to do with birth order, which, doctors will tell us too. I mean, and like you said, with Ella, I was more like, and with Violet, I was like, she's fine. She's fine. And that's how their personalities are now. Ella's like, I'm going to disappoint my mom. And Violet's more like, we got this. It's fine.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, we did damage our children.
Well, I hope that all the mamas out there that are sending their kids off to school and are getting them in school have an incredible school year. And every year, Steve and I, even though we don't have kids in school, we pray really hard for a safe and happy and wonderful school year for all the kids. We just want their safety and for them to have fun and just to have an incredible school year. And I pray that for your kids too, Erin, every single year. And, for all the mamas and dads out there, hang in there. You've got this and you'll get in your schedule and everything will be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Kudos to everybody. We made it. Hopefully we enjoyed this summer. We made the best of it and we're on to another school year. And like you said, most importantly, that these kids are safe and prayerful and, that they are light in their own world is what we always pray for our kids. So yeah, this was fun. I like back to school.
I like back to school too. Well, happy back to school 2024.
Oh, scary. Well, everybody, thanks for listening in to our little conversation today about back to school. We have lots of fun stuff coming for you all of the Lisa and Erin show. So share this out. And again, happy back to school to all of the moms and dads out there. Prayers for all the kids. And we will see you next time on the I Decide Darlings podcast.
You've been listening to the I Decide Darlings podcast. If this podcast touched your heart, please share it with your friends and family right after you subscribe yourself. Don't forget to head over to iDecideBook.com and grab a copy of our favorite book and daily journal. As always, thank you for being here, and we can't wait for you to hear our next episode.